So AA programs can be kind of hectic with how many exams you have at a certain amount of time. In undergrad, I didn't need to study as much, and I didn't quite take undergrad as seriously as I probably should have. So there were a lot of times where I studied enough just to get by, or I didn't really even have to study much for an exam. Forget about that. I just wanted to preface this next part with what works for me might not work for you. Our minds all work in different ways. We all retain information differently. So this is just the way that I have found out through trial and error my mind best soaks up information and keeps it there. So before the program even starts, I need you to look over anatomy and physiology. Those are the two that really hold up everybody. Medterm, yes, kind of, but you can kind of brute force Quizlet your way through that, like in the middle of the program, so it's okay. Anatomy and physiology, though, you want to have a pretty good understanding before starting. Before you show up to class, look at the lectures that are going to be taught in that class, and the night before, go through those PowerPoints. It doesn't have to be in depth. It can be just like a 15-minute brief overview, but you want to have a feel for what's going to be talked about in that class that day. So that way you're not totally disengaged and trying to catch up to what the professor's saying because you've never seen it before. Have a very, very brief look at the material beforehand so that way you're not starting from ground zero. You don't know everything, but you already have some sort of basis to go off of. So we've already talked about what to do before your classes. Look over those lectures. Now, while you're in lecture, be fully focused. I don't like taking notes while I'm in lecture because then while I'm typing stuff, I'm not fully engaged with what the professor's saying and I'm missing things. I'm kind of like getting this and that from here and there and it's not cohesive. So what I do is I have the PowerPoint downloaded to my iPad or I have a two-in-one laptop, iPad thing, whatever, and I'll highlight things that they're emphasizing. It's super quick and easy. It's just one little stroke with the highlighter, and then you can go back to being re-engaged with the professor. So now we've already done two passes of material. One was super quick. We didn't really get too much out of it, but it was a nice little start. Then in lecture, we were able to build off of that and really engage with the professor, listen to what he was saying, and retain some of it. Not all of it. We're not all going to come out of lecture knowing exactly what was just said. A lot of it's going to be forgotten immediately, but it will all look familiar whenever you go back over it. So then what I do before an exam is I will pull all of the PowerPoints that will be over that exam and I'll go through them. I'll go through maybe half in one night, half in another night, and I'll kind of split them up that way. It depends on how many lectures you got to go through. Sometimes if the material is kind of shorter, I can go through all of the PowerPoints in a day, but this is usually a weekend thing. This is usually either Saturday or Sunday, fully dedicated to looking over these PowerPoints. So let's say for an anatomy exam, I have it on Monday. Then on Friday or Saturday, I'm going to try to, between those 2 days, go through all those PowerPoints. This will be our third pass going through it, and we should be able to retain a good bit of information, and we'll be able to really hone in on those highlighted moments that we had from class. Okay, and then the last thing that I do is the 2 days before, or maybe even the day before, if I can get it all done, is I like to rewatch all of the lectures one more time. Now, some of you may be limited on time, and you might have to watch it in 1.25 times speed, 1.5 times speed. That's totally fine. But for me, watching it that one last time and listening to the professor and actively engaging with the professor as if I were in class, if he asks a question, I'm going to make sure that I know the answer to that question because we've already seen this stuff 3 times. So I should know the answer to that question. And if I can answer stuff, it solidifies it in my head. And if I can't answer it correctly, hey, I'm going to go back and look at that one more time because I got an exam tomorrow. I need to know that stuff. So to review, my method is the day before the lecture is being taught, I do a 15, 30-minute brief overview of the PowerPoint. In lecture, I am fully focused. Sometimes I need a lot of caffeine to do that, but I am fully focused in the lecture. Then I'll come home. Leading up to the exam, I'll go through all the PowerPoints that are going to be on the exam and then rewatch the lectures that will be on that exam as well.